Do you want to take over the screen?
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
You got it okay?
I think so. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Okay, 1 second. I took over my other screen. Okay. All right. Oh, nope, that didn't work either.
Everybody, we're kind of new to this. We're new Zoomers.
Oh, good afternoon and welcome to Tech Days 2021. I'm Shauna Kasegi, the Outreach and Continuing Education Consultant for the Southwest Wisconsin Library System. This year, Tech Days is supported by all 16 of Wisconsin's library systems. In addition, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction Public Library Development Team provides support from the Institute of Museum and Library Services through LSTA funding. All webinars will be recorded and captioned. In this afternoon's webinar, Canva demo and Q&A will be presented by Cole Zrostlik. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat box and Cole and I will answer as many as we can. And thank you to those who sent their questions ahead of time. Cole, are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, thank you, Shauna, and thanks everybody for being here. I just want to say right away that this is informal, so ask questions anytime. Also, and I'm going to talk about this in my next slide, nobody is really an expert, and especially me. So I want you to always feel free to ask me questions, but all of the answers can be found somewhere on the internet, or you can gain all of these skills by just practicing a little bit. All right. Oh, and we're gonna play a little bit today. So if you are on a couple screens, or if you want to sign into your Canva account, here's more disclaimers. I just talked about this one. You can do it. Teaching tip: don't teach 100 people at a time because everyone has different needs. So this is totally wild. I don't know, Shauna, how many people are in this room right now?
Yeah, we've got 76 people.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend teaching 76 people any sort of technology at one time ever, because that's totally insane. When I teach technology to the public, I think one-on-one probably works the best because everyone's sort of at a different place, has a different skill level, has a completely different question. Like, you know, if you're teaching like digital photography, you have one person who wants to know how to turn a camera on, and you have another person who's like, oh, I need to know shutter speed for night photography, or whatever. My third tip: Canva Design School is really great. Give it a try. And I set up a few of my favorite design school modules that are hands-on in the Wakelet, which I will get to in a minute too. Now, let's see. Here is the link to the Wakelet. Shauna, would you mind putting that link into the chat so people can take a look at it? Also, yes. We'll be sharing the link to the Wakelet on the website, and we'll send these out too. So if you don't get a chance to write this down or remember it or whatever, don't worry. So because we're all at a different level right now, I'm going to start with just an introduction to Canva. I'm going to escape here. I'm going to go just onto my computer here. So probably most of you who are attending know that Canva is great for designing flyers. It's great for designing social media posts. You have all kinds of cool possibilities with Canva. I have two versions here. I have the pro version, the paid version, and then I also, in a different browser, I have the free version because I wanted to make sure that I could answer questions for everybody. I think if you have the free version, I think you have to just be a little bit more strategic with Canva, because you can still pull most of these things off. It just won't be as easy. But then the other thing that I was thinking about, and that I think all of you should think about, so a pro version of Canva is $120 a year. When you think about how, like, digital first, transitioning to digital, we used to pay way more than $120 a year to print out posters, to all these print marketing materials. So personally, I think it's really worth it to go with a pro account. I had a question from somebody. What are the differences between Canva Pro and just a free account? And I think I can show you. Let's see. Maybe I can show you these, or maybe I'll just tell you about them. So one thing you can do is you can save your, so like say you're making a logo, you can save your image with a transparent background. So that would be as a PNG. You have access to the brand kit, which I'll show you right here. This is something that I think is great, and this is in the premium account. So with the brand kit, and if you have a premium account and you haven't set up your brand kit yet, I totally recommend doing this. So you have in your brand kit, you can put all of your logos in here. You can set up your brand colors. You can set up your brand fonts, which includes you can import or upload your brand fonts. So I uploaded this Marquette Deco font to match the font in the Winding Rivers Library System logo. And that was really nice. And then also these brand colors came right from the logo. So I started my job after the logo had already been created. So it's pretty handy. And then when you are creating your design, which maybe you want to open up something right now. We're gonna start with a flyer here. You can play along with me. You can just watch whatever you want to do. I like to. Sometimes it's nice to keep yourself a little busy while you're watching a webinar. I like that. So then, in order to add those things for my brand kit to my flyer, I have logos on the side here. So I can quick add my logo. That's really big. Doesn't matter. And then my text is already set up in here. So here's that Marquette Deco font. And then let's say I add an element that looks like this little star from Super Mario. If I click in the colors here, I have my brand colors set up already. So that's nice. And I think if you are designing as a team or you have more than one person, you can have these brand colors set up already so that you can say, we don't really have like a template necessarily for our flyers, but using some of those brand colors can make all of our flyers a little more cohesive. So other things that are cool about the Pro plan, you've got all of these elements and images that you can use. So you can kind of anything you can think of, you can use, you can have photos and just so like that was like I looked up, I wanted a picture of a Pokeball. So like any one of these is free. I don't have to go on to Google. I don't have to worry about permissions. And I think this is a good place too. So I'm down here in the bottom corner. You can look for anything you have questions about. So for example, when you're talking about licensing, copyright, so using those Canva images for commercial purposes. So this is a good place if you have a question like about something like that, this is where you can go. And I recently looked this up, and most of the elements in Canva are licensed so that you can use them pretty much for any library use, as long as you're not like Coca-Cola, you're not a big corporation, you should be in pretty good shape. And especially if you are using Canva to create a logo for your library, or maybe for a new program, something that you really want to have, like you're going to have it for a long time, you're going to have it to represent your brand. You don't really have to worry so much using these Canva Pro elements. And I think if you're going to pay for either a professional graphic designer, or you're going to pay for some of those logo elements from a design website, you're going to pay around $120, which is how much it costs to have a full year membership subscription to Canva Pro. Let's see. Oh, the other thing that is nice about the Canva Pro account is you have this resize tool, which someone asked the question, how do I resize without a Canva Pro account? And I did put a tutorial in the Wakelet. So the resize tool is really nice. So I can, if I have this gorgeous piece of design here, I can resize it to exactly what I want. So say this is maybe the size. So I have, say this is a flyer, say this is the size of my slideshow on my website. I can very easily copy and resize it. So all of those elements are going to go in here. I still probably need to, I'll need to do a little finagling to make these sort of a little easier to see, but here you go. Also, somebody asked just general design questions. I would totally recommend using these guides, and I would also recommend not putting any design elements outside of these purple lines. So I don't know if you can see, when I move my big star guy, I have this purple box that sort of goes around the outside. Leave white space. People appreciate that. I think clean design is easier design to understand and easier design to read. Okay, anyway, I'm all over the place. I got so many things to tell you, and I'm so excited to talk to you about all of these things. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna go back to intro to Canva. One big thing you wanna think about when you're designing is you wanna think about size, and you wanna think about matching the size of your document to the size that you're going to print. So for example, if you're going to create a flyer, you want to make sure that you're starting a design on an 8.5 by 11 inch canvas, basically. Someone asked me about creating postcards, and I think somebody also asked me about creating slides for an LCD, like a television. On Canva, any size is possible. So you can always create a design and do a custom size. But then there's also these templates. So say I want to do a flyer. I want to make sure when I hover over that I'm getting to the correct size. Just the same way that if I'm going to do a postcard, I want to make sure that I'm getting the right size. So this postcard here is 5.5 by 4.3 inches. I'm gonna, if I go into, so I'm going to Vistaprint. Let's say I want to use this as my print service. I haven't personally used Canva as my print service before, but I know that a print service like Vistaprint is really, really affordable. So here I'm in Vistaprint. Here are the different sizes I can print. So if I go back to here, so my postcard here, 5.5 by 4.3. So they kind of match. So that's just a lesson that I learned the hard way one time, and I thought maybe I would just let you know. So think about the size you want to print, or the size of your design. It could be a slider on your website. It could be the size of your LCD TV. So think about that before you do any designing. All right, so now that you've got your canvas open, so I'm gonna call this your canvas. This is where you're gonna do some magic. I want you, we're gonna work a little bit on some layering, and we're going to work a little bit on using frames. So these were two things that people asked me about, and they're not too hard to do, but it might just make sense to just practice a little bit. So one thing about Canva is there are so many elements and so many tools in Canva that sometimes you have to seek out what you're looking for. So I'm going to show you first of all, how to do a frame. So we're going to go into elements, and I have them in my recently used, but if a frame is not in your recently used, you're going to have to just type in frame. And then you'll get all of these guys with the little cloud. So this is basically, if you want to change a photograph into any shape, you're going to use one of these little cloud guys. So here's this little button guy, how cute. And then I'm going to go into my uploads, and I've got a picture of myself and I'm going to put it in there. So if I double click, I can move the photo in the background around a little bit. So hopefully that answers one of your questions. The other thing somebody asked about was grouping. So let's say I really like the way these three elements sort of fit together. So I can highlight those three. I just make a little box around the three of those. Actually, maybe I should make this full page. Sorry about that, everybody. I make a little box around the three of those elements, and I'm going to hit group. So I can group those together, and now I can move them around however I want. Let's say I want them here, and they're right in front of my logo. Now I can go to position, and I can move them backwards. Now my logo is here, so I have a little easier time getting to it. Okay, and I'm still going to try I want to use those guides here. So I'm going to try keeping those inside of my guides. I also kind of would rather, so I'm going to use that. I want it centered. I also want to keep my logo towards the bottom down there. The other thing somebody asked me about was backgrounds. So we're going to put in your flyer right now, so you should have, I want you to have a shape with a photo in it, and it could be any photo. And now let's try putting a background into your gorgeous piece of art right now. I'm going to try this background right here. Oh my gosh, it's so busy. How do I get my gorgeous artwork to stand out a little bit better? So I'm going to go into elements, and I'm going to go into lines and shapes. And this is possible either on the free or the premium account, by the way. So I'm going to take a square shape. This is a special square because it has the handles, so it can go up and down or over. So I'm going to put this square, and you could use any shape you wanted here. I'm going to put this square over where my text is. I'm going to position it. I'm going to move it backwards, so it's behind all of this stuff. And then I'm going to make it transparent just a little bit so that you can see well, let's see, I'm going to change the color of it too. I'm going to change it to black. Now you can kind of see that background, that very busy background, but you can also see these elements and not including this type right here. I'm going to change the color of that to white. So that's just one example of layering and one example of grouping. I hope I sort of answered the question that was given to me. I have no idea if that actually answered the question, but there we go. So let's see. Another question I had was about making designs mobile friendly and meeting accessibility standards. I want to make sure that all of you know that anything that's put into, basically, if it's saved as a JPEG, it's not readable by a screen reader. So I did in the Wakelet, I put something, an article in there about Facebook's 20% rule. And I want you to think about when you're making an image in Canva and you're thinking about accessibility, I want you to think about making your image as image heavy as possible so that you can put, especially for the web, make your image as image heavy as possible so that you can put that text somewhere, probably outside of your, like in the posting area, so that your post can be, so like the text can be read by a screen reader. So I would not recommend creating a poster in Canva and then using that poster also for Facebook. What I would more recommend would be taking out this text and copying this text and putting it into the text area on Facebook. Let's see. And then if you're putting an image like this on your website, when you're putting the image in, I would use an image description, like a tag description for your image, and then putting that text, like the text I have highlighted here, putting that text onto the page of your website. So putting it physically onto the website instead of leaving it in the inside of the poster. Let's see.
Hi, Cole. Just so you
Yeah.
know, sorry, I was actually kicked out of Zoom.
Oh no.
And so I lost the chat box actually.
Okay.
And somebody was asking a question about if you, Megan was asking if you are, if for some reason with billing that you can't pay for the account, like a pro account, you know, like at some point, do you lose your work?
No.
And so I was looking into that, but so far I haven't found an answer.
As far as I know, you do not. You just lose, I think you lose some of the features. So you would just go back to like your elements. You would not be able to use those pro elements. You wouldn't be able to export as a PNG with a transparent background. You wouldn't be able to do an SVG, any of those things with like the little crown next to it, but you would not lose your work. And that's my free account that I have here. I kind of love having this because I've had it I've had it in my current job. So here's like pandemic art. And then I have like, let's see, I have like winter 2020. And then I have like, from like 4 years ago, and then I have from 5 years ago. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about is organizing your art in Canva, and I can show you about that. But I also have a little short tutorial in the Wakelet talking about organizing and using folders. All of your artwork will still sort of be in this main place, but you can move things into folders to slightly organize them ever so slightly more so that you can find stuff years down the road, because it's going to keep all of your artwork unless you delete it. Thank you. That was a good question. Let's see.
And there's someone who's asking about the pricing and what are the benefits. And I'm going to put it in the chat box because someone also mentioned that Canva is free for nonprofits, for libraries. And so I'm going to also put a link to learn more about that in the chat box as well.
Thanks. And so this is like the age-old question, because I have tried more than once to get a free account for Canva for a library, and I've not been successful. That said, I've talked to, specifically for this presentation, I talked to some Canva representatives, and somebody told me that the best way to talk to Canva folks is through Facebook Messenger, and I did have luck. They told me that it shouldn't be a problem. I did post in the Wakelet, I have some information about a free account or getting a nonprofit account for free with Canva. So if you have questions about that, those were the places that the representative told me to go. It seems like it should work. Personally, I haven't had luck with it. $120 might just be worth it.
That's some really great inside knowledge. Thank you, Cole. I've never had to apply for it before.
Yeah.
Someone also asked about how many team members, how many people on your staff can use it at the same time. And you can actually customize it, I know, right?
Yeah, it seems so. What I've read is you could have up to 5 team members on one account at the same time. But I haven't done this recently, so I'm not 100% sure.
You're right. I went to their website. You can have up to 5 for the pro plan, but then it goes up from 10 to 15, and it basically starts to double with the pricing.
Different pricing levels. So it's like, so is it $120 for up to 5 people? Is that what that means, Shauna?
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. Okay, awesome. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, I was thinking, oh gosh, I can't see the top of my screen. Okay. What else did I have in here? Oh, here's another thing I was thinking about. Okay. I have a slide here. I was going to talk about some of my favorite tools, but time flies when you're having fun. One of the other reasons we wanted to talk to you about Canva today is because there's going to be, and there are all these different opportunities to use Canva. So recently, OWL's library system did a toolkit. Like, for example, I know that that's a Canva toolkit, but they did this library step up advocacy outreach toolkit. So this was a Canva, like all these elements were in Canva. You could change them, use this for your library or for your library system. So cool and so generous of them to share. The ALA is starting to have things like this. I just saw, where did I see that? Maybe it was back one. I just saw, oh, so this libraries transform table tent. So they're recommending uploading these plain table tents to Canva and then adding text that way. So you're going to see that more and more. And then also currently I'm helping on with an initiative within the state to create these templates, these job seeker templates that you'll be able to use either to print or to share on social media for a lot of different reasons. So the more familiar you are with Canva, I think the more you're going to see these tools that you can just like ready-made tools that you can quickly customize. You're going to see these more and more. Let's see. I have only got 3 minutes left. This is so much fun. I kind of love this. Let's see. I wanted to add. Here is my slideshow. So that's how I started. I wanted to show you, I'm going to put one more slide in. And I thought maybe, let's see. So this is fun. So what I'll do a lot is I will use a ready-made template for something like creating this slideshow. I'm going to delete this part here. I'm going to put my contact info in, delete that. I'm going to make this a little bigger. Hopefully you can see it kind of. Maybe you can see it better there. So let's see. I can pull these out a little bit. Oh, look, there we go. Okay, so I wanted to put my contact information in there, but I also hate the colors of this slideshow. So I'm going to go into styles on the side here. I can use my brand colors for this. And I think I can apply it to all pages. Whoop, maybe. Whoop. There we go. So I can do my brand colors, and this doesn't look great, but there's all kinds of other colors. So I actually like this, using the styles a lot. So like if I'm making different variations on a logo, or I'm like trying to make badges in Beanstack, this is kind of a fun one to sort of like play with colors, especially if you're a person like, I don't know what color I want to do. I totally like this little styles thing. I had a question also about video. I put a video about videos into the Wakelet. I put a lot of other, if other people had questions for me, I tried to get to every single one of them. So all of those are in the Wakelet, which we'll be sending a link out to in the next day or so. Shauna, is there anything else that we need to get to right now?
Oh, just a lot of thank yous. And if we did not get to your question today, we will certainly look in the chat box and make sure that we answer your question. Thank you so much, Cole. This has been very fast.
It's been really fast and so fun. If you ask me a question, I will put it into the Wakelet. Like I'm a collector of information, and I'm so happy to do that.
Yeah, we better wrap up today, but thank you so much, Cole, for your fast examples and what you showed us today with this demo. There's so much to know about Canva, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So thank you again for joining us today. And we hope to see you at Laura Solomon's free online tools to increase your workflow and productivity webinar at 1 p.m. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. That was fun.
I couldn't believe I got kicked out.
You bounced yourself out.
It's never happened